So, our game works and we randomly spawn blocks across our room that our player must try and survive. But how does our player win? What drives people to come back and play more? Well, we're going to use one of the simplest goals in gaming: get the high score. Over the course of this video, we're going to increase the player's score after successfully matching colours and display the score on screen for our player to keep track of. To begin with, we want our player to receive a score for correctly matching colours. Instead of creating a new check and adding score if they match, why not use the one we already have? Open up your object block and open the collision events code. Add a new line just below instance destroy and simply type score plus equals 1. We created a variable before for our random colour choice. However, for score there's no need to do so, as GameMaker has a preset score variable for us. Typing plus equals or minus equals is essentially the same as just adding or subtracting 1 from the current total. Click the tick and save the object. That's all we need to add in to make our score increase with every success. However, our player still can't see the score, so we're going to work on creating a basic UI or user interface to communicate information to our player. Before we begin adding any more functions, we need to complete one bit of setup for our room. Open up Room Game, and this time head to the Views panel. Views within GameMaker are effectively cameras. We could, in more complex titles, swap between different cameras to add in multiple viewpoints. We only need one for this game, but we need to set it up so it works for us. Start by enabling the use of views by clicking the top tick. This allows us to reference the views in our code and use their size. Now, making sure that view 0 is selected, we want to make it visible when the room starts. This again just sets it up so we can use it straight away when our game starts. We now want to edit the values of our view and our port. Think of the view as the in-game camera, and the port is the window that opens so we can see our game. We can leave both their x and y values 0, but we want to make their width and their height values equal to that of the room itself. So we'll make both widths 270 and both heights 480. Our user interface will use the view's width and height to help us position it and make sure it is readable in game. This is an important step to make sure our game is as polished as possible. Click the tick and save the room. To start off, we're going to create another object, and this again won't require a sprite, as we don't need to see the object for it to display our score. Name it object underscore score and add a create event. Drag and drop an execute code action and we'll begin with the initial setup. Now when we start the game, we want our player's score to reset to 0, so we're going to call our score variable and assign it the value of 0, semicolon. The next line of code is going to set up our user interface size. This is going to use our room's view width and our height, so it fits perfectly over our game. Imagine our UI is a clear piece of plastic that we can draw information on. This is then placed over the top of our game view so the player can read it whilst playing. To set the size, we will type display underscore set underscore GUI underscore size. It'll turn yellow, so add a couple of brackets as well. It's fairly straightforward to see what it's trying to do, as the function is named after what it does. It's relating to the display and it's setting the GUI size. GameMaker refers to UI as GUI, which just means Graphical User Interface. They're exactly the same thing, just with slightly different names. Clicking in the brackets, you can see what it's asking for as a width value and a height value. Now, we could simply type in the numbers as the room size, 270 and 480. However, to make it easier in future, if you were to change the view size, you don't want to have to change the numbers everywhere. So we'll refer directly to the view width and view height here. So the width we want, view underscore W for width, view square bracket 0 close square bracket. This is telling GameMaker to use the width of view 0 for our UI width. So we'll add a comma to separate information and do almost exactly the same with our height value. View underscore h view square bracket 0 square bracket, and end the line with a semicolon. That all seems a little complex, but it's a good setup so that our UI appears in proportion to our game screen. This is really helpful and good practice to get into, especially when designing games for multiple platforms. You don't want to type in every possible size variation, so you just make it refer to the view size. Click the tick to save the code. Now, we're going to use a brand new event to help us draw to the UI like it's that piece of clear plastic. Add event and click draw. This has a few options, but for this example, we just want to use draw GUI. This is going to do exactly what we need and allow us to pass information to the UI. Add an execute code action and we'll tell it what to draw. The functions here are all from the same set, the draw set. This will help us to keep imagining the idea of drawing on the clear plastic over the top of the game screen. I want my score to show a simple number at the top of the screen right in the middle. An easy way to make sure our text is central is to use the function draw underscore set underscore h align. This allows us to tell GameMaker to align our text on the horizontal h axis. As it's yellow, open your bracket and you see it asks for a h align. We want it in the center, so we'll type FA for font align underscore center. Close the bracket and end the line. This acts like the alignment buttons in Word or Pages. It means we can tell the text to be aligned to the left, right, or as in this case, the center. This only aligns the text within the text field itself, not within the room. Now we want to tell the event exactly what to draw and where. We're going to use draw underscore text. Open brackets. Similarly to our instance create, this is asking for an X value, a Y value, and the string. Now remember from the Game Maker in 30 Minutes or Less series, we discussed what a string is. It's a string of characters, letters, numbers, and punctuation, such as a sentence, a word, or even a score value. We're going to be a bit clever here and make sure the text is always in the same position regardless of the screen size. So, our X value will be view underscore W view divided by 2. In programming, we use the / to represent a division sign. This will take the width of our view and halve it to get the middle. Comma. This time will be slightly different, as we're going to type view underscore Y view instead of H view. Think of it like this. X view and Y view are the 0 points of our room, so top left, whereas W view and H view are the maximum values of our view, so the bottom right. We want our text to be slightly below the top of the screen, so we'll have the minimum height value, or the Y view, and move it down 8 pixels by adding 8, comma. The simplest part of our draw text function is telling GameMaker what to draw. We could type a custom string using speech marks, but we just need our score. If you're showing just a variable and no custom text as well, you don't need speech marks at all. Close the brackets add a semicolon and save the code. Once you've saved the object, place it in the room and test the game. You should now have a number at the top of the screen that increases as you successfully match your colour to the blocks. And there we have it, the basic colour break game complete. You have a simple mechanic that works, a win condition and a lose condition. There is a great deal of room for experimentation and making this game your own. You could allow the player to control the movement of the player object. You could make unsuccessful matches remove score instead of ending the game. Or you could reverse the rules and make it so you don't want to match the colours. There really is a vast number of ways to customise this game. Experiment with your ideas and see what you can create.